don't just know a lot, they know everything.
Was covalent?
What's Scooby-Doo?
What is indubitable?
Every correct response gets them one step closer to becoming a Jeopardy! Masters champion.
It feels unreal.
Two-week primetime event continues tonight on ABC.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Before we go, we want to say that we were sorry to hear about losing the great Bonnie Tyler, who gave us classic hits like Total Eclipse of the Heart. Wonderful singer and a really great woman. Have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And remember, you're not in this alone. We're in it together, and we'll get through it together. We'll see you tomorrow.
Augusta politician Troy Jackson. While his family cashed in, you paid the price. As state Senate president, he voted repeatedly for higher taxes. Troy Jackson voted to allow cities and towns to drastically raise your property taxes, hurting our seniors and working families the most. And Jackson supports raising taxes on your Social Security, making Mainers pay more while his family cashed in. We can't afford Troy Jackson in the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It looked like another government shutdown that would cut Maine families off the programs they need. But Senator Susan Collins led the fight to keep government open, bridging the divide between Republicans and Democrats, and protecting federal funding and critical family services to help children and mothers in need. Senator Collins' bipartisan leadership makes a difference. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep government working for Maine families.
You don't get to buy the government that you want.
But let's look at what Troy Jackson did, because Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was state Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Was it a coincidence, or was something corrupt? Troy Jackson is just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
The future of a Bangor medical provider remains unclear because of financial issues. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. A man is facing felony charges after he allegedly threatened a woman in front of police. And anyone who would like to be a declared write-in candidate for the November ballot had to submit applications in person yesterday, but there will be a lot to choose from. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey, Susan, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Listing Direct Sherry Therian, offering a free home valuation and certified as a residential real estate divorce specialist. Start packing. Alrighty, here we go. So no advisories in effect anymore, as the fog has now moved out of the area for most of the state, and in fact starting to see some improvement now across parts of Washington County. So as we do check things out, in fact the radar and satellite starting to look a lot better now as the rain has tracked off towards the east, and in fact look at us now with hardly any clouds. It is going to be a nice day as we do push forward in time. Let's zoom things out. Nothing across parts of the northeast with high pressure building in, so a very nice day expected for us. Futurecast, okay, lots of sunshine, few passing clouds possible as we head towards the afternoon period. Later on tonight, some more clouds, and yes, more fog expected as we head towards early Thursday morning. No wind to worry about today. A few gusts possible along the coast. We'll stay calm later on tonight, but tomorrow though, that's when we'll have to watch for gusty winds up to 25 to even 30 miles per hour. Here's what we got for today. So sunshine, some clouds, temperatures in the 80s, and then cooling off. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. The future of a Bangor medical provider remains unclear because of financial issues. Penobscot Community Healthcare says it's facing serious financial pressure and needs to come up with money to keep the organization going. Callie Warren has the details.
Around 50,000 Mainers currently receive care at Penobscot Community Health Center, and now they're facing an uncertain future. According to PCHC CEO and President Lori Dwyer, the company is facing some serious financial setbacks. Dwyer released an op-ed to local newspapers Tuesday, saying the financial future of PCHC is at serious risk. She's highlighting the cuts the company has already made in the face of ongoing financial strife and says the system is now in crisis. In that op-ed, she said in part, quote, "Federal and state funding have been delayed, underfunded, or cut. Millions of earned dollars was not distributed to PCHC by a former ACO partner. The financial toll of pandemic-era provider turnover lingers. Costs have skyrocketed while reimbursement for preventative care lags way below the cost of care. Each pressure on its own might be survivable. Together, they've become a crisis. We haven't waited to act or ignored the signs. We are preparing for every contingency, including Chapter 11 restructuring, if our turnaround efforts fall short," end quote. She adds that many patients are on main care or don't have insurance. Some are lower-income families, and PCHC supplies care regardless of someone's ability to pay. Dwyer is saying that there are, quote, "weeks, not months, to get this right," and that folks at PCHC are continuing talks with state leaders to try to obtain some of those much-needed funds as soon as possible. This is remaining a developing story, and we will continue to follow it. In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine Secretary of State Shanna Bellows says the office is preparing for another courtroom battle with the Trump administration. It comes after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the president could begin carrying out parts of an executive order intended to restrict mail-in voting. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
State officials are resisting President Trump's push to curb mail-in voting after the Supreme Court issued an unsigned emergency order on Monday. It said the president could proceed with implementing an executive order that directs the U.S. Postal Service to help decide which voters should receive mail-in ballots.
We know here in Maine that over 200,000 people annually in a big election year like this will use absentee voting and mail-in voting.
According to Maine Secretary of State Shanna Bellows, the decision currently has no impact on voters, as a separate lawsuit and injunction is in place that prohibits the Trump administration from moving forward.
We are already preparing to go back to court because it is the states, not the federal government, that are in charge of elections. We disagree with the idea that the Postal Service should be able to create a national database to pre-approve voters who are voting by mail.
Maine is involved in several multi-state lawsuits that attempt to block federal directives on voter registration databases and mail-in voting procedures.
With all of these lawsuits, there's a great deal of coordination among the states, red states as well as blue states, who are standing up to say to the federal government, it is the states that are in charge of our elections under the Constitution. We've always had free, safe, and secure elections, and it's the voters who should decide what happens in November, not the president.
Bellows said the office plans to file legal action this week. Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Yesterday marked 70 days until the midterm election and the deadline for finalizing the budget. Anyone who would like to be a declared write-in candidate had to submit applications in person by 5 p.m. yesterday. According to the Secretary of State's office, 16 declared write-in candidates have qualified for the general election. Secretary of State Shanna Bellows said the state expects to see high voter turnout and plans to bring in additional resources should a race go to a ranked choice tabulation.
We are here to say that Maine is on track to have another safe and secure election like we always do, and we are aiming to be first in the nation in voter turnout like we were in 2022. And so voters should feel very confident and very proud of our systems. And anyone who attacks them based on lies or misinformation or threats has an ulterior motive, that they're scared about election outcomes and they're trying to manipulate people's fears to bring about chaos and scare people away from voting.
Now that the ballots are finalized, the office will now move forward with the production and distribution. Voting officially starts 45 days before the election for military and overseas voting. A man is facing felony charges after he allegedly threatened a woman in front of police. Bangor Police Department spokesperson Katie England says officers responded to a suspicious complaint at a Sanford Street apartment about 10 p.m. Monday. The complainant spoke to police from her window, informing them that Alfred Barron was outside her apartment and she would like him removed. England said the officers located Barron with 5 bottles of tequila and asked him to leave. According to England, he accompanied the officers outside, but when the caller spoke to police from the window, Barron allegedly threatened to kill her in front of the officers. Barron is being charged with terrorizing and violations of conditions of release. Meanwhile, police are still looking for 2 suspects potentially armed and dangerous in southern Maine. Police say they tried to stop a car around 1 Tuesday morning near the corner of Shaw and Lebanon Streets in Sanford when they say someone in the car fired at an officer in their cruiser. The car took off and was eventually found abandoned at McKinnon Environmental Reserve. The hiking area covers more than 100 acres and includes about 2.5 miles of walking trails. No officers were hurt when the shots were fired, and police tell us 2 suspects are still on the loose. Around 3 Tuesday afternoon, members of the Boston division of the FBI showed up on scene and are assisting Sanford police in the search. There was also a helicopter searching above the woods, along with canine teams searching the area. We're told police are now spread out across southern Maine looking for any leads.
The more time that went by, I assume that the suspects have gone far. Definitely going to lock my door when I get home.
Police say people in the area should remain alert and report any suspicious activity. A Brewer man got home to an unwelcome surprise when he returned home Tuesday. He found an unknown woman had gone inside his home without permission and was drinking coffee. Brewer police were dispatched to North Main Street for a welfare check and found 55-year-old Darcel Howard inside drinking coffee. Howard was taken into custody without incident. During the investigation, officers learned Howard had 4 sets of active bail conditions for prior arrests for similar behavior, including recently when a Bangor man returned to his home to find her sleeping in his bed. Bangor police were also contacted, and they told them they were looking for her in connection with an unrelated case. Howard is being charged with criminal trespass and violation of conditional release. A heads up for drivers in Old Town. The temporary bridge next to the Llewellyn Estes Bridge is currently closed while crews take part in a thorough inspection of the site. Maine DOT says the daytime closure will allow safe access for personnel while traffic is rerouted along the established and previously used detour route. The collapse occurred on August 13th, while Maine DOT says it happened when a construction crew was pouring concrete for the bridge deck. An exact cause of the collapse is still under investigation. A Maine DOT spokesperson tells us they'll alert people of the bridge reopening through its social media, but they expect traffic will be allowed back on the bridge sometime this afternoon. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, Washington County's manager has been reinstated. We'll be right back.
Here are the facts about Susan Collins and Medicaid. Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance Donald Trump's Medicaid cuts.
Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance the bill.
Now, thousands more Mainers are expected to lose their Medicaid coverage. Hospitals and clinics are shutting down, all to give massive tax breaks for billionaires. Look up the facts yourself and tell Susan Collins to stop voting for Trump's healthcare cuts.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
It's a mountain of fun. Plus, the Mallet Brothers at the county's Fall Festival to End Hunger, Saturday, October 3rd. This year's family fun, the scenic chairlift, an ATV ride-in, food trucks, beer garden, bonfire, golf scramble, and the Mallet Brothers. The county's Fall Festival to End Hunger, Big Rock, Mars Hill, Saturday, October 3rd. All for Maine's Ending Hunger campaign from the County Federal Credit Union. More at countyfallfestival.org.
I got hurt in this accident, and the insurance company isn't offering me nearly enough money.
If you've been hurt, you deserve to be free from your car accident problems, free from dealing with the insurance company, and free from your financial struggles. Call the Twos. It's free.
I made a free call to Lowry Law, and they got me $275,000. The Twos set me free.
I'm your go-to guy.
Judge Judy never misses a beat.
Let's go. This is my playpen.
Let me stop you for a minute.
No, don't stop me ever. Is not an answer. Ooh, say sorry. Your Honor. Does this face look stupid to you? I still love this job.
Judge Judy.
Weekdays at 5 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The Washington County manager has been reinstated. According to the Machias Valley News Observer, Washington County Commissioners David Burns, Courtney Hammond, and Billy Howard voted unanimously today to reinstate Renee Gray. Gray filed a federal lawsuit against the county and 2 commissioners alleging sex discrimination, defamation, and whistleblower retaliation. Her legal team claims she was ousted for cooperating with a state investigation into prior financial mismanagement. According to the paper, Burns stressed that the action was taken to comply with a court order while Gray's civil case plays out in court. Gray is expected to return to work immediately. Despite his own declining approval ratings, President Trump's endorsement is still proving powerful in Republican primaries. We saw it in South Carolina last night, where he endorsed a candidate, the sister of the late Senator Lindsey Graham, defeat a seasoned politician for the Senate nomination. Rebecca Castor has more on how the president isn't sitting out in the battle for Congress this November.
I want to thank President Trump for all of his support. Our victory would not have been possible without you, and we are truly grateful.
Political newcomer Darlene Graham may have a famous last name in South Carolina, but she had to overcome serious concerns about her qualifications to win last night's primary runoff against veteran Congressman Ralph Norman.
You know, the president got involved. He has that right. That's his prerogative. Y'all, his policies are good. I never understood why he got in this race to beat, but it is what it is.
This keeps the president's endorsement record for the U.S. Senate at 100%. A handful of his candidates have lost in House and governor races, but his overall endorsement record is still a strong 97%. Assigned candidates may not need to distance themselves from Trump, despite an unresolved war with Iran and high gas and grocery prices.
We have the resources, most cash on hand in the history of the party ever. We're going to defy history. We're going to win the Senate. We're going to win the House.
Fox's power rankings tell a different story. With too many close races, the Senate is a toss-up. But if Democrats have an average election night, Fox predicts they'll take the House, which could lead to more Trump impeachment trials.
We've made clear we haven't ruled anything in, and we haven't ruled anything out.
For the first time, Republicans will be holding a midterm convention next month in Dallas. Democrats decided against hosting their own as the party faces a fundraising crunch. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
The Trump administration is arguing the Kennedy Center may face demolition if major repairs are not made. In a filing late Monday, the administration's lawyers urged the U.S. District Court judge to reject a legal challenge opposing President Trump's effort to rename the Performing Arts Center. The lawyers wrote, without the renovations, the center will become an unsafe and decrepit structure that will need to be taken down. The filing is the latest addition to the months-long saga in court over whether President Trump's name can replace former President John F. Kennedy's name on the iconic art institution. After the break, businesses that rely on trade across the border are bracing for the impact of tariffs. We've got details when we return.
If you've been injured in a motorcycle wreck, call 855-IRON LAW today. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. We protect our own.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. All things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you've been hurt, you deserve to be free from your car accident problems, free from dealing with the insurance company, and free from your financial struggles. Call the twos. It's free. I'm your go-to guy.
It looked like another government shutdown that would cut Maine families off the programs they need. But Senator Susan Collins led the fight to keep government open, bridging the divide between Republicans and Democrats, and protecting federal funding and critical family services to help children and mothers in need. Senator Collins' bipartisan leadership makes a difference. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep government working for Maine families.
After a summer of eating burgers every which way, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a change. But rather than giving up burgers totally, I thought I would give them a whole new twist. So I went to the market and I walked right past the meat case and headed towards the fish. Let me show you where I'm going with this. We start off by cutting a pound or so of U.S. farm-raised catfish into chunks and putting it into a food processor along with some torn up white bread. Now, to give this lots of flavor, we add in some fresh garlic, parsley, and a bit of salt and pepper. We give it a whirl until everything is chopped. I would say to the point where it's the consistency of ground beef. We form this into patties, and we can make these slider size or the size of big burgers. That's up to you. Then we cook them just like we would any other burger. And as you can see, these hold their shape nicely since the catfish is really meaty. Not to mention, it's pretty darn tasty and very heart healthy. Serve them on a fancy burger bun smothered with sauteed onions and our homemade lemon herb sauce. Let me tell you, you'll be one happy camper. I do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our fresh catch burgers so you can say goodbye boring and hello to something new. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a locally farmed way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
The trade war between the U.S. and Canada has escalated, with Canada making good on its promise to retaliate. Canadian leaders announced tariffs ranging between 15% and 50% of billions of dollars worth of American goods, including agricultural products, appliances, and construction materials. As Sam DeCosta reports, here in Maine, businesses that rely on trade across the border are bracing for the impact.
Those tariffs will have real consequences for Canadian workers.
Of course, it's going to have a huge impact on us, and it already has.
Concerns mounting across North America that new sets of tariffs could milk the economy dry.
They're not getting enough money for their milk to survive.
Michael Knight owns Smiling Hill Farm and Hillside Lumber. It's been a family-owned business since 1720. He says increasing costs make it difficult enough already to make a living on the dairy farm.
My father raised 6 kids on milking 48 cows. My mother did not work, and you were able to do so. Today, you cannot milk 48 cows and make a living by any means.
Smiling Hill makes its own fresh bottled milk and sells it domestically. Knight believes the farm can sustain itself without trading over the border, but he's concerned that tariffs will squeeze Hillside Lumber. Knight says limited manufacturing in Maine and increased costs of Canadian construction materials will put a strain on the state's lumber industry.
That's going to put their demand up, and with demand goes the cost. So with the cost of building a house is so high right now, it's just an added, unnecessary added expense.
In total, Canada's tariffs will cover about 6% of the goods imported from the U.S. That's in response to the U.S. putting tariffs on 5% of Canadian goods. Canada calls this a dollar-for-dollar response. Knight remains optimistic he can weather the storm, but says small local businesses like his need support from the public to make it through.
We lived through world wars and pandemics and everything else. We should be able to weather through anything now.
Current Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling main stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true. This is Maine, this is home on ABC 7, Fox 22.
Lakeshore Restaurant in Dexter is open for the season, featuring a wide selection of seafood, lobster, salad, sandwiches, and more. Plus, don't forget to save room for dessert. Dine in or take out at 16 Crockett Road in Dexter. Visit us today.
Let's check your full forecast with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, Susan, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. The fog has now moved out of the area for most of us, and so things have begun to improve. Everyone looking really good. So, of course, that means we have no advisories that affect everyone looking good with a nice blank map. So, of course, that means we have no surf to worry about either. Look at the coastline, very calm with 1 to 2 foot wave heights being observed at this time. You want to see something a little more active, you have to look farther out towards sea, where 3 to 6 foot wave heights are being observed at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, look at this. Everything is tracked off towards the east, so we are seeing a lot of sunshine this afternoon. So overall, sun and clouds will be the name of the game as we do push forward this afternoon. As we do zoom things out, high pressure, again, being our friend and keeping everything out of here for now. We'll have a little bit more activity moving in soon, which will bring with it a little more precipitation. But let's talk about things right now. We do have a lot of sunshine, few passing clouds. We'll have some more clouds and, yes, some more fog yet again. Keep that in mind as we head towards your Thursday morning. All that will get out of here, and that'll help to bring with it some more clouds, showers, and storms as we head towards Thursday night. And then we'll have to watch for some more of that activity as we head towards Friday morning. No wind to worry about today unless you're along the coast. The winds may pick up for a while. By Wednesday night, that will back off. Everyone sees wind Thursday gusting up to around 25 to even 30 miles per hour, so be noteful for that. As we check out your muggy meter moving forward, look at this. It surges up as we head towards Thursday and a Friday with dew points near 70 degrees for a bit before it really goes down Friday. Then a quick bump up as we head towards your Saturday. So yes, some activity that will be moving through. So sunshine, it'll be nice today with low 80s for the high and that west wind at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight, all right, partly cloudy, lows in the upper 50s, and yes, areas of dense fog with the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, low 80s, partly cloudy and windy out there with that south wind gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Friday. Showers and storms with highs cooling into the mid 70s. And then we're back in the upper 70s for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Sunday, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 80s.
Thank you, Devin. 80-year-old Dolly Parton passed away yesterday. The well-known singer, songwriter, and actress was also involved in much more. In lieu of flowers, Dolly's family is asking for donations to be made to Dolly Parton's Imagination Library at www.imaginationlibrary.com. Speaking of her pivotal literacy program, the impact of Imagination Library was felt across the country, including right here in Maine. Each child enrolled in the program received 1 book per month from birth to age 5 at no cost to their family. In 2022, the state legislature approved $200,000 to expand the program statewide. In 2023, 4,500 Maine kids were receiving books through Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Dolly Parton touched scores of lives and here in Maine helped bolster literacy and broaden horizons for Maine kids. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.
On the Pavement, Sunday, October 4th at the Sea Dog on the Bangor waterfront. Register now at purpleirisfoundation.com or scan the QR code. Start a fundraiser, win prizes. Sign up by September 1st and get a free t-shirt. Goodie bags for the first 200 people to register. Cancer survivors sign up for free. Proceeds support those battling cancer in Maine. Pound the Pavement, sponsored by the Sea Dog, Summit America, Peter and Deb Brontis, Eventful Maine, ABC 7, and Fox 22.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor. The following is a paid advertisement for the Shark Power Detect Transformer Power Trio System.